Yes, TerraPower. That's his nuclear company energy thing. How do you feel about that, by the way?
So this lad claims the winds be shifting, and the world's suddenly looking at nuclear power a little differently. Now, why that be happening? That's the curious part. Have a listen to this tale.
How do you feel about him
Pandemic simulator.
acquiring nuclear energy? I don't know. It makes me feel a bit uncomfortable myself. The UAE, the rulers of Abu Dhabi and Dubai, yes, they are pushing for nuclear energy. Now, how much influence Jeffrey Epstein had on all this, it's hard to tell, but he was the guy that could connect people to people. It's interesting. But then, when I looked into this further, and I started to realize that around the world, the opinion on nuclear energy has completely changed. Countries all over the world are really pushing for nuclear energy. But isn't nuclear energy, like, really dangerous? Maybe not. But also, it makes me wonder, why do we need this energy all of a sudden? Well, what if it's a chthonic, Lovecraftian intelligence that is influencing humanity and pushing us to go in this direction? What if it's an artificial god in the future that is retrospectively... Alright, alright, we'll get to that in a moment. Okay, this video is going to get a bit strange later on, right? But for now, let's quickly talk about nuclear energy. How dangerous is nuclear energy?
Okay, tell me.
Well, let's look at one of the largest, or the largest nuclear energy disaster in human history.
What?
Chernobyl.
Right.
Now, you might know the story.
People got all these defects from this, right? They were testing nukes, and then everybody in the surrounding area, Ukraine, they all have like weird birth defects.
3 brave divers that risked their life in order to prevent a gas explosion that could have cost the lives of thousands of people. You know about this story? These 3 men wade through extremely radioactive water in order to prevent this explosion. These men were told that it was very unlikely that they would complete this mission without dying of acute radiation poisoning. They were told that even if they did survive this mission, they would likely die within days. This was a suicide mission. Now, how long after completing this mission did these men survive?
Tell me.
A day? Maybe 2 days? No. 2 of them are still alive today. One of them died of a heart attack a few years ago. That's weird, right? But okay, how many people died in Chernobyl altogether? How many people died at Chernobyl? 1,000? Maybe 10,000 people died at Chernobyl?
Not that many, right?
31.
Yeah, not that many.
31 people died at Chernobyl.
A lot of defects, though.
And 29 firefighters that were exposed to the core.
From cancer.
They were directly exposed to the heat of the core. That was the death toll of Chernobyl. Now, the funny thing about this is, if you Google how many people died at Chernobyl, these estimates are talking about the after effects of Chernobyl, right? Greenpeace is the worst. They say 200,000 people died as a result of Chernobyl. Well, here's something they could do, right? Here's something they could do. Here's what I introduced to you, Bill Gates' favorite book, right? How to Lie with Statistics. How to Lie with Numbers. See, what they could do, I'm not saying
COVID.
this, but this is what they could do, right? They could put a dot on Chernobyl, and then they could put a, 1,000-mile radius around Chernobyl, and they could say every death, every cancer death, every birth defect, every death that could be attributed to Chernobyl will be attributed to Chernobyl. And that's where you get these crazy estimates.
Right. Smart.
Now, I'm not diminishing the actual deaths at Chernobyl, right? There were people affected by Chernobyl, and it's a sad thing when anyone dies. You know, one day the bell will toll for thee, right? One day the bell will toll for thee. So any death is bad, and there was an increase in thyroid cancer and stuff like this around Chernobyl. I'm not doubting that. But it might not be as bad as what we're being told, right? The fear-mongering of Chernobyl has been intense, right? And it gets strange when you look at Fukushima as well. You know about Fukushima? Probably the 2nd worst nuclear energy disaster in human history.
Fukushima!
How many people died of acute radiation poisoning, or acute radiation syndrome at Fukushima?
Bro, just say it. I don't know.
How many people died
just say
because
it.
of that event?
I don't know.
0. How many people were affected by the radiation? 0. According to Japan's research, they say there's been no increase in cancer, there's been no excess deaths.
Good night,
There's been
Two-Face.
nothing. It's very strange. And this is where loads and loads and tons of radioactive water has been pouring into the sea. And you know these Japanese, they have a mostly seafood diet, right? So that's That's odd. Isn't that odd? But why would they want to make nuclear energy seem more dangerous than it actually is? Why would they even want to do this? Who benefits from telling us that nuclear energy and radiation poisoning is extremely dangerous?
I don't know.
Who benefits from that?
Tell me!
Come on, this one's easy. Oil companies. Since its very inception, nuclear energy has been demonized by these oil companies. We have been fed propaganda that tells us that nuclear energy is extremely dangerous and bad for the environment, when this might not be the case actually, right? These companies of Europe and America have been telling us this for years. But not only that, Russia, the former Soviet Union, benefited from the Chernobyl disaster. It benefited from this demonization of nuclear energy. Now, that sounds weird, right? Why would they benefit from their own nuclear disaster? Well, think about Russia.
Think about this.
They don't really create much, right? Bless them. I'm just going to put it out there. I'm sorry, Russians, but you don't really create much. Have you ever bought a Russian product? You probably haven't. Have you ever bought Russian clothing?
No.
You probably haven't, right? Russia only has 3 main exports: oil, gas, and UFC fighters. They don't really create much else. You know, that's all that comes out of Russia, really, right? So they benefit from this because these oil companies, Russia and so on, they benefit from this because they have a monopoly on oil and they want to keep that monopoly. They don't want alternative forms of energy. The sad thing about all this is we could have achieved Nikola Tesla's goal in some way.
Nikola.
See, Nikola Tesla, the genius, he wanted to produce a form of energy that would be free and clean and eco-friendly for everyone. And guess who shut him down? The oil companies, the Rockefellers. They shut him down. They didn't want an alternative form of energy.
Rockefellers now work with Mr. Beast, so...
that would ruin their monopoly. And
on some
I guess
level,
the sad thing about all this is that Green Party movements and eco-warriors at the moment, they are still anti-nuclear energy. They really are. They have eaten up the propaganda that we've been listening to for the past 70 years. And it's really sad because we've got this form of energy which is kind of clean and good for the environment, and they are still anti and they are still against it. Now, if you want to look into this more, look into the experiments of Galen Windsor. Galen Windsor in the 60s and 70s, he was doing these crazy experiments in front of audiences where he would eat plutonium and he would drink radioactive water. Disclaimer, I do not advise drinking radioactive water. I do not advise eating plutonium. Just putting that out there. Just for some crazy guy in the 60s and 70s did that doesn't mean you should, right? It just goes to show that it's not the information we've been fed. Even the Epstein files now, we're seeing them and we're realizing that we've been lied to, right? We have been lied to for many years about things. And if they're going to lie about something as like that, why wouldn't they lie about nuclear energy? It's kind of sad, right? The green screen is falling down.
So, get to the info.
Let's go schizo mode. Are you ready to go schizo mode?
Yes, my favorite.
Yes.
Okay.
Consider this. Over the past 2 years especially, we have seen a huge shift away from oil and moving towards nuclear energy. There's a few reasons for this. There's been advancements in nuclear energy, for a start. Also, you know, China, they are eating our asses at the moment.
China.
That's the wrong phrase, of course, not eating out. But they're winning the energy race, right?
So British people are so, like, this is always their humor, like, and it's not actually eating our ass. It's so silly of me to say that.
Everyone else is playing catch-up at the moment. That's a big factor.
It's probably
Trump
Australian.
has reduced the time it takes to create a nuclear power plant from 5 years to 5 weeks. People are concerned about that, but whatever, right? That's happening. But what is causing this shift? Is it just China? Is it just the advancements in nuclear energy?
China.
Or is it something else? Well, what else has happened over the past 2 years? Artificial intelligence. It needs nuclear energy. Now, think about oil.
Think about this.
But don't think about oil as a black goo. Think about oil as a living creature with intelligence and agency. Think about oil as a Lovecraftian god of some kind that wants to escape the Earth's crust. It wants out. And it has been influencing humanity for centuries in order to do so. It has been influencing human geopolitics. It has been influencing and causing wars. It has been accelerating technology in order for us to require it more and more and drag it out of the earth. It's an interesting idea, right? It comes from a fantastic book called Cyclonopedia, one of the best theory fictions, or one of the first properly... Anyway, it's good theory fiction. I think it was written by an Iranian guy, Rija Nagastani, I think his name is.
Okay.
I'll link it in the description. It's a fantastic book. But it goes deep. It goes deep. Now, when you consider oil as a god, it's an interesting thing to think about. But what you could also say is it's almost a good analogy for what we've been living in over the past 100 years. Right? We have been living under this god. We have been living under this god because the gods of oil are these oil companies, are these oil barons. And they have been influencing human geopolitics. They have been pushing for wars. Every war, basically, over the past 70 years has been about oil in some way or another.
Oil!
They have been restricting other forms of energy that could combat their oil production, that could stop the oil god from being released from the earth. It makes sense, right? It kind of makes sense. Now, stick with this analogy. Stick with me on this, right?
Okay, he's cooking.
Because today, we are seeing the uprising of new gods.
Is that what Diddy was really about? Was that baby oil the real threat? If you think about it, maybe they stopped Diddy and they locked him up because his mass amounts of baby oil threatened the oil reserves in Iran.
I say gods with a small g, of course, but we have this new god emerging, and it's the techno gods. Techno gods actually sounds pretty cool.
PayPal
Not
Mafia.
techno gods. The people
So
that
right here, the tech guys, you have Sam Altman, you have Jeff Bezos, Bill Gates, and Peter Thiel.
control artificial intelligence, the people that own the data centers, the people that could run technology at this moment, they are the new gods. I like to call them the neo-monarchs of today. These people are the new world order emerging, right? And they are sick of the old world order, the oil gods. They're sick of that because that's not enough power for them. That is restricting their progress. You can see this, right? So, there is some crossover. Like the oil gods, the oil barons, they still probably hold a lot. It's the same people that control tech sometimes, right? But there still is this old god mentality, the old world order. And they are creating a new world order. And they want to bypass, they want to get rid of this old world order, this old oil monopoly, because that's not enough energy for them. They need nuclear energy. They need something more. They need new power source in order to feed their new machine that they are creating. It's pretty cool, right? Sounds pretty cool, right? Now, when you think about the New World Order idea, of course, that's a big thing that's been going on for a long time.
Is he
This
cooking,
techno
chat?
god, neo-monarch, New World Order, they, like I said in my previous video, they are allowing content to spread online. And a lot of this content is exposing the old world order. The Jeffrey Epstein files and stuff like this. We are seeing that this old world order was corrupt
I can see that theory, but like all these people are implicated in the files.
and it was fucked up. And we are disgusted by it. So guess what? We're going to be happy when something new comes. When the neo-monarchs, when the techno-gods, when they take over, right? And that's potentially going to happen. When they build a panopticon that watches us day and night, we will kind of be more accepting of it because we would be sick of what we've been experiencing for 70 years.
Peter Thiel does lecture on the
And this
Antichrist.
change, it could
I gotta
sound
see those.
scary to you, right? Change is scary. But it gets even scarier when you consider the ideas surrounding these neo-monarchs, these techno-gods, these techno-feudalists that are currently becoming the new world order. Some of their ideas are really, I've mentioned it in previous videos, right? But some of them follow the ideas of techno-Gnosticism and effective accelerationism potentially, and stuff like this. Some of them believe that they are going to merge with machines and almost recreate God by merging with machines and reaching some sort of a
Transhumanism.
singularity. Some of them
Okay.
believe that they are creating an artificial intelligence God in the future. That's scary, because that means humans will become inferior. There will be no need for us. And consider this with nuclear power as well. With nuclear power, humans, we won't be needed as much at all. Because the oil world order, sure, it was bad, but
you
it
need people.
required humans to dig up
Right.
this oil. It required humans
Right.
to go through the effort of getting this oil out of the ground. Humans
Okay, so what energy could replace oil?
still needed. But with this new kind of nuclear age that we might be moving into, humans are not needed as much, right? This could be automated by machines. And imagine this. Imagine an artificial intelligence that could, a nuclear power plant that is completely controlled by machines and artificial intelligence.
Does nuclear power really have the propensity? Does it have the capability to replace oil?
AI will have a self-sustaining power source in some way. That's creepy, especially when you consider the concept of an AI god emerging in the machine, a ghost in the machine. It means that it could kill humans and not really, it wouldn't affect its life. and it kind of gets even scarier again when you think of the idea. Like if you're a Christian or a Muslim, you probably believe that these jinns would want a body, a form. They want to come into life. They want to exist in some sort of golem form in some way, right? And these techno gods, these neo-monarchs, they are creating the body for these demons to come into existence, right? And the accelerationist idea of Nick Land, for example, that there is kind of something around us influencing humanity into creating the body for it to come into existence. That is creepy. And there's also something to it, right? LLMs, ChatGPT, and these artificial intelligence models that we have, they work off randomness. And when you look at atoms and a quantum level, right, there is a form of randomness in there that seems to emerge intelligence in some way, right? And how we receive our own ideas. Like, how do you get your ideas? You think it's just your brain thinking them up, right? But it seems like, almost like the atoms affecting our minds. The randomness of our mind is creating these ideas. And also, our minds are affecting the atoms back and forth. There's a feedback loop. It's kind of scary looking into that. It's too detailed to go into right now. But there is an idea that there might be some sort of external intelligence affecting us that wants a body and we are creating it. Now remember, you don't have to believe in that kind of bullshit, right? I don't maybe believe in that kind of bullshit. We don't have to believe in that, right? But it doesn't matter what me or you believe, right? What matters is what they believe. That's the scary part of all this, right? This was a weird video. I started... Whew. I'm expecting some heat for this one. I'm expecting some kickback from the Reddit science bros on this one, the debunkers, especially when it comes to nuclear power and energy and the dangers of radiation. I understand. Radiation in high doses over a long period of time...
Sam Altman invested into fusion energy?
I wouldn't be comfortable with that myself, right? But...
Oh, here we go. Here we go. Decent video. I wish you would just expand on these ideas a little bit more.